Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Hello. This is Adolph, and today I have with me Jake.
Hello.
And we are doing Avengers, what questions we want answers for in Endgame.
What master do you serve?
Who? Where is Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
So, this podcast is being recorded on April 17th at 6:51 p.m. Central Standard Time. We put this time stamp so that way anyone listening knows that this is before the release date. And I will say it first, and you could say it afterwards. I have not seen Endgame.
Yep, I have not seen Endgame either.
I desperately want to, but I have not. So, what questions do we want answers for in Endgame? Number one, Jake, let you have this one.
Okay, where was Carol Danvers all this time?
Okay.
Why didn't she show up before?
Now, I kind of have an answer for you, if you want this.
Okay.
Now, let's go ahead and give everyone a spoiler warning that we will spoil every single Marvel movie beforehand, and I think I've seen all the trailers and teasers for Avengers Endgame, but spoiler warning for any Avengers Marvel movie before Endgame, and TV shows too.
Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Okay, so in the third teaser trailer or second trailer or like a teaser, I don't know. It's a little clip. I think someone asked Carol Danvers, "Where have you been?" And she was like, "Well, Earth is not the only planet that has problems."
Yeah, but still, Earth had some really big problems, like when Loki brought the Chicago. During, like, why didn't she show up during the first Avengers movie? Why didn't she show up during Age of Ultron? Didn't these warrant her presence? Did Nick Fury ever call her? Did he ever attempt to call her? Heck, why didn't he bring Goose?
So, I think I actually remember a comic from like Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and then Green Arrow's kind of giving Green Lantern slack, throwing shade is the newest term. Whereas you care about the green people, Green Lantern. You care about the orange people, but what about the brown people? What about the white people? Our people, our human beings. You're a human, Green Lantern. Why don't you're always out there saving other galaxies, but when our people have problems, you're not anywhere around? And then he throws in his, it gets to an argument where, some characters are galactic characters. Green Lantern is one of them, just like Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel is, but at the same time, Earth is a pretty happening place, so I kind of hoped there was more to it than that one little snarky response. Oh, there's other planets in the galaxy that need my help. Well, okay. Obviously, there was one planet that needed her help, and Thor, Thanos was able to get the Power Stone from that planet without much hesitation. That it wasn't even worth watching on screen when he attacked the Nova Corps. You should know about that.
Oh heck, they could have. Thor could have used her help during Ragnarok. Maybe Asgard wouldn't have had to be. Maybe wouldn't have been blown up.
So, kind of going on that, I'll go to my next question that I want answered in Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Will Captain Marvel be taught humility? So, Captain Marvel is a very cocky character.
Mm-hmm.
In all respects, understandable. She is incredibly powerful. She is like a nuclear bomb that could just, keep going.
Yeah.
In her own movie, she was essentially unstoppable, which, I understand James said that was a problem for him, that he didn't really feel a threat to her, and I understand that. Is she going to be taken down a notch? And this is a very important question because Thor used to be this way, and he's been taken down several notches and has become a better character because of it.
Yeah, I just think she's never encountered a problem she can't solve with brute force. To her, she's a hammer and everything looks like a nail.
I think there's a comic where she does fight Thanos, and Thanos basically claps and makes her explode, or claps her head in to explode or something. Obviously, we're not going to see that kind of violence, or who knows, maybe, well.
Yeah.
But, if she gets, roughed up at least, or hurt, or at least is not able to, I think it's good for the character to be taken down a notch, to learn a lesson. Hell, the rest of the damn Avengers have, learned a massive lesson by massive failure, And if she's the only one that has no, thoughts of failure, it's going to be kind of a clash there.
I think your cat is asking about Goose.
Yeah, so where's Goose?
Yeah, where's Goose been? I'm with the cat. Yeah, where's Goose been?
So, last time we saw Goose was throwing up a Tesseract on Nick Fury's desk, and we haven't seen or made any reference to Goose ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, has he been hanging out with Fury? Did he get snapshored? Where's Goose?
Okay, is that your real question, or do you have another one?
Okay, that's sort of a real question, but I used it because your cat was chiming in. Okay, what happened to Shuri? We didn't see Shuri during the snapshot. Did she get dusted? Did she survive? Inquiring minds want to know what happened to Shuri.
That's a good question. I think there's a whole thing about coasters that people are talking about where, some of the posters are black and some of them are color. And if they're black and white, the other ones have been dusted. I think Shuri is part of the dusted group. So we haven't seen that on screen. But obviously that leads to, if she is dusted, was she able to finish repairing Vision before that point?
Yeah. And here's another. What happened to Korg and Meek? We saw them at the end of Ragnarok. They got on the ship with the rest of the survivors of Asgard, the Asgardians, and they met up with Thanos' ship. But then when we saw Infinity War, we just saw a whole bunch of bodies laying on the ground and didn't see anybody resembling Korg or Meek. So, were they killed on the ship? Did they escape? And if they did escape, did they survive? Did either one of them survive the snap?
And Valkyrie is the next question, too. Is she going to be part of this?
Yeah, exactly. Did she survive the snap? Did she survive Thanos? I mean,
we don't know the full cast list, and I don't think we're going to know until after the movies, we see the movie, of who's in here and who's not in here, but we have not heard any word about the Waikiki, the director of Thor Ragnarok, and the voice being in here,
Yeah.
and then same thing with Valkyrie either. So they might be, maybe they'll mention that, or it might be some of those things that are never mentioned, not on screen, kind of like the whereabouts of Lady Sif, that we know nothing about her,
Yeah, exactly.
No, Lady
We haven't
Sif.
seen Lady Sif. Yeah, we haven't seen her since she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I was about to say, she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was season 3. Anyway, she was there. She helped out for an episode and then is gone. And obviously, we know in real life the actor that plays Lady Sif is busy doing other stuff. So, that's why she can't reprise her role. But does that mean she's written out of the character because she's not interested? Or that they just don't have a good story to have her in? Or is Lady Sif just gone, died somewhere else or something? So we don't know. But there's a lot of those characters that we don't know about.
Yeah. And we have some answers about Hawkeye, but we need more details. Just a throwaway line. Oh, he's under house arrest. Scott Lang got a movie. Poor Hawkeye. He don't get shit.
So that's it. I think Hawkeye is going to be a scene that was going to be devastating. I think we're going to probably see Hawkeye having a nice, tender family moment, and then everyone else in the family gets dusted, and he's pissed.
Yeah, and becomes Ronin.
So, that's probably going to be in the movie. I'm going to bet that's going to be in the movie, because that's going to be a big character, thing for him, and a reason why he's Ronin and why he's out there. Why, because he did everything right. He retired and did everything he could to help out the Avengers, and he wanted to have family time, and then that was taken away from him. So I'll be surprised if they don't have a tender scene where his whole family gets dusted, and it's just horrible.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a big one. A big question. Do any of the Avengers explain what happened to the general public, or is it just a mystery?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Are they going to, if they reverse the snap, or are they going to remember it happened?
Yep, that was one of my questions too. So let's start with the first one. So, okay. Avengers know what happened because they were there and they saw it firsthand, and they knew, that once he had the power, he could do that. That was basically what people know. Now, average person in Omaha, Nebraska, doesn't know anything that's going on. They may know, some aliens attacked New York. That was probably going to be worldwide news, because this early scene with, they're trying to get the Power Stone from Doctor Strange, or the Time Stone, and that's probably going to make worldwide news. But the rest of the stuff, they probably don't know that there was a big fight in Wakanda,
Yeah. All they're going to know is there's an emergency alert and people are disappearing, because that's what they showed at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Emergency alerts going off.
So, that's going to be something, there's got to be some way to explain, have people know. I feel like that would be a big missing thing of the story if they don't explain that. That if someone does not explain what's going on, if just, half of the world just disappears, you can't just have missing posters everywhere. They showed that in one of the trailers where Scott Lang, Ant-Man sees like a big poster, with all these, or a big post with all these posters on it of missing people. But, it's just, you have to have that kind of explanation to there has to be something. I kind of feel like they have to, even if it's just, Captain America going on screen, going to a TV, it's like, look, this is what happened. We failed. I'm sorry. We failed. And that's why you're missing, or something. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
30-second speech. And that's all we need. That's all I would want, so that way people know what's going on. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to your point, do the people that are, if they reverse the snap, which we're all going to assume that somehow or another the snap's going to get reversed, do the people remember that? Do they remember being snapped to begin with? Do they remember the time after the snap? If they're in the soul gem, which is everyone's big assumption, is this going to be something that will just, all right, everything's got fixed and everything's, no harm, no foul, and, bada bing, bada boom, everything's back how it was before Infinity War? That's going to not ring true.
Yeah, well, it depends on how they do it. If they use time travel and go back and prevent the snap from happening, then no one's going to remember what didn't happen, except people who were in the time loop. And if they reverse the snap, not everybody's coming back. Because think of it, an airplane flying, if the pilot and co-pilot, if they're snapshored, that plane's going down and everybody on board's probably going to die. Cars, trucks, drivers of vehicles, if they're gone, that creates accidents. Accidents that'll probably kill people. So who knows how many people were killed because the operator of their vehicle vanished. Boats, ships, things, and cars, buses, trains.
Hospital rooms, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the middle of heart surgery. Your surgeon vanishes. So not only is there no one to stitch you back up, he just crumbled into your open chest cavity.
So, yeah, we saw a little bit of that at the end of the last season, the previous season. I think it's 5 or 6. I don't know the seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry, what number they are. I watched all of it, but I don't know what number it is. We saw that some of it. We see planes crashing. We see a little bit in the post-credit scene with Fury. We see some of that. People get into accidents. They got into an accident. So there's definitely going to be, ripple effects. The butterfly effect of it. Even if the snap is undone, what happened because of the snap can't be just done either, so that's going to be really complicated. How do you fix that? If you do use time travel, which is my next question, do they mess up the timeline? Is that some of the movie where they're trying to fix, they thought they fixed it and then they messed up the timeline and they, keep repeating it like Groundhog Day kind of thing. And then, we keep seeing different versions of the past that are screwed up. And, what's going to limit their timeline changes? Because if they're doing this, how far back do they go? Do they go back and stop, Loki from going to New York? Do they go back and stop Ragnarok? Do they go back and, if you do that, you're really, destroying a lot of the movies and everything that's built upon it,
Mm-hmm.
What's your next question?
Okay, we're going to need a payoff to the Hulk's refusing to come out after his fight with Thanos. We're going to need an explanation why, and then we're going to need an explanation of why he's now coming out. I mean, because the assumption is Hulk's coming back. That Banner isn't going to be left high and dry without his alter ego. We're going to need a payoff to that.
Yeah, I agree 100% because, it was kind of a convenient thing for Hulk to not be there, but it made sense to a degree in the story of Infinity War. You don't want to have your strongest character be there and doing everything, making it easy. So if he's back, which they really don't, they need to have him back. It will be kind of sad not to have him back. I got to explain it and say what happened, what's changed between now and then, that made that happen. Is it going to be a different, like, is Hulk going to evolve beyond Bruce Banner and, like, separate and be, its own thing, which I wouldn't want? Or is it going to be like Professor Hulk, where Bruce Banner is, like, controls Hulk and is fully conscious and aware of everything going on as Hulk? That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Or, I mean, there's then there's Joe Fixit, and there's all sorts of other ways they could go. And if he's going to be integrated, are they going to bring Doc Samson to talk to Banner to help him and Hulk kind of deal with their issues? That would be awesome to see Doc Samson in his glory. But chances are, if they even have him, he's just going to be a white guy in a suit.
So, my next question is there any video footage of the snap happening? Does it haunt people? So, there's bound to be a TV show or a movie that was filming, there's millions and billions of people that have different kinds of smartphones that record. There has to be video out there of the snap happening. So they can't just, that's going to be something that's going to, you're going to have to see somewhere. They can't just say, oh, no one knows about it. And just, it has to be there. So does that haunt people? Does that scare people? I would think I would be haunted by seeing that in real life.
Oh, there's probably a Ken Burns Snapumentary miniseries, 25 hours of Snapchat footage, all put together by Ken Burns for PBS.
You kid, but I think that would be fascinating.
Yeah. I'm like going, I want to see that now. I really want to see that now.
I think it's a missed opportunity that none of the TV shows took the ball. I think that's part of the Marvel TV being broken, and I think they're trying to fix it now.
Oh, they could have done a documentary. Laugh if you want, but if you remember the Blair Witch, the first one, they did a little mockumentary and didn't tell anybody it was a mockumentary and just released this documentary about the Blair Witch. Fired people up, and they went to see the Blair Witch Project in droves.
So yeah, it's a really interesting thing. It's gonna be something that I think definitely, I wish that Netflix and Marvel had their shit together, and there was a season of Daredevil where Daredevil is alone in New York, or a season where it's not Daredevil TV show, it's an entire TV show with the villain. I can't think of his name top of my head. What's the villain for Daredevil? Jake.
Kingpin?
Yeah, just imagine, instead of Daredevil season 5, it's just a Kingpin, and he rules New York because he has total power and no one's there to stop him. That would be amazing.
Yep, we sure would.
So yeah, those kind of stories would have been awesome for TV. Even if it gets undone in this season, it would have been really good. And like, we kind of had some of that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., with, having a whole half the season or whatever being in space and, being in the future and, undoing that, but no one knows about that undoing, So they have played with this idea before. It feels like a big missed opportunity. Maybe that's going to be some of this length, 3 hours that we're going to be watching, because, having that on screen, might be depressing to some, but it's going to make a better story, more depth to that,
I agree.
So what's your next question?
Okay. These are kind of, I'm asking them because I would have normally said we could wait till Guardians of the Galaxy for these answers, but since that's been so postponed, because of reasons we're not going to go into here, because nobody wants to listen to a 6-hour podcast, is okay, what exactly happened on Xandar? And was the Nova Corps completely destroyed?
I think in the audio commentary, the directors did say that they were thinking about it, but they're worried about length of having that, and it would just be like a complete destruction where, Thanos shows how powerful he was even before he had the Power Stone, with his army and stuff. But I think they just cut it for time, and they decided early to not have that. So, but yeah, the Nova Corps, it looked like it was decently competent,
Yeah. And then and what exactly happened to the Collector? I mean, is he actually dead? I mean, it looks like answer probably yes, but it would be nice to have something a little more definitive. Again, I would normally say wait for Guardians 3 for these answers, but Guardians 3 is so far away. I don't think we can wait for a lot of these answers. I think they need to be addressed.
Okay, so here's another question for me. So, okay, they say that half of all life. So we only see humans and humanoid life forms. I guess is the way of putting it. Bipedal humanoid life forms being disappeared, including Groot. So, we did not see any trees. We did not see any fish. We did not see any bugs get snapped. Which, most people are like, who cares? And that's a big deal.
Yeah?
And something like going to an aquarium and, the people working in the aquarium, and it's like half the fish are gone. That's all you need, a line. Or going to, news report, Redwood Forest is now half the forest it was. That could be something incredible, to see that kind of shot of the Redwood Forest, half of it being there, half of it not being there. That's the kind of thing that, they did say all life. So, I consider trees and fish and insects life.
Yeah, so do I.
Maybe I'm just a crazy liberal who thinks, trees are alive.
Yeah, and hey, and in America, your hamburgers were living cows before, and so are they a lot less hamburgers now? Because because the cows have been snapshored away?
What's your next question?
Okay, about the Infinity Gauntlet. After Thanos used it, did he destroy his arm? Is the gauntlet destroyed? Are the stones damaged? I think these are questions we should have answers to in Endgame.
So that was one of my questions, which is fine, because I think that's a really big question.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
I was stepping on your toes.
It's fine. We're both stepping on each other's toes because we both watched this movie, love the Infinity War, so we both have the same kind of mindset. It's fine. So okay, at the end of Infinity War, it looks beaten up. It's not golden shiny as it was before. So that's a legit question. But he was able to use it to teleport out of there.
So it looks like it at least has some function. Unless he's got another way to teleport.
Which we don't know of.
No, that needs to be addressed.
Now, in that clip where I mentioned before with Captain Marvel, they're like around a table or something, and they're like, Captain Marvel's like, why don't we just go out there and get him? And then they're like saying, oh, he used it again. And it's kind of inferred that they could track when he used it, which is the Infinity Gauntlet, and why would he use it? And, they could track some kind of, I'm inferring here that maybe it's some kind of radiation or some kind of tachyon beams or, whatever, can be noticed somehow, somewhere in the universe. And, that way they could know where he's at, maybe, so maybe he has used it, but why would he,
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my next question. This is a deep philosophical one, but it's a good one because this is exactly what Thanos wanted. And part of the hashtag, Thanos did nothing wrong. You heard of that hashtag, right?
Yes.
I kind of like it. All right. So, did some places actually get any better because of the snap? Or did it all just get worse? Did we get some extreme famines? Did it take away good crops and left the bad crops? Did ecosystems just get destroyed? Is there some places where, it destroyed the bad kind of, things and the good stuff came back roaring? And if you undo that, then, you're going to be messing up, maybe destroyed all of, viruses or something, a huge amount, and no one gets, the flu anymore. That's a good benefit of the snap. Who cares about the flu? Less mosquitoes, so maybe less people have malaria or something,
Well, it didn't get rid of enough people because I still had to wake up at 4 a.m. to get Infinity War tickets at 5 a.m. And they still sold out almost instantly. So, still too many people.
And to keep going with that, did it snap out an evil warlord or an evil manager of a company, or an abusive husband or an abusive whatever, and those people's lives are better because guess what? That, jackass of a manager is not there anymore, or that, asshole of a, wife beater is not there anymore, or, that horrible dictator in X country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Our countries combining resources because half of their mental resources are gone. So are they pulling the people they have left who can, the people that get stuff done?
That's a really good question. Maybe some places have benefited from the snap because those, jerks are taken out, and if they're undone, those people are going to be pissed because guess what? They have lived, without this dictator, and no one could take out this dictator before, or no one could take out this, manager before, That's a good question that maybe there was positive benefits to the snap somewhere in the universe, somewhere down the line,
Mm-hmm. And here's another thought. Was the snap truly as random as Thanos claimed? Because it seemed like an awful lot of the Guardians went and an awful lot of superheroes went. It didn't seem like it just took half. It just seemed not as random. It didn't seem to be completely random.
Yeah. I mean, it could have taken him.
Yeah, exactly.
And it didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
The sentiment that, that's how it would have saved his planet, or was it the moon he lives in? What planet was it? I forgot.
Titan.
Yeah, I mean, if it says it takes care of the rich and the poor, then that would be fairer than just going after just the rich or just the poor, but maybe, maybe he did it some other way. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting to think about these kind of things,
Yeah, maybe the randomizer just wasn't a very good algorithm.
So, all right, this is going to be kind of a hard question. They're probably not going to touch on this but I'm gonna go there. So, is it gonna be like hospitals where like a mom gets snapped out of existence during childbirth? Is that baby considered alive? Is the baby snapped, or is the mom okay? Is like maybe babies that are half in the womb, or not half in the womb, but not 100% born yet? Are they snapped out, or they continue? Does the snap cause huge amounts of miscarriages? And is there scenes where in the hospital the baby is born, it's given to the mother or the father, and then the father or the mother disappear and the baby falls or something? It can get really dark. It's really a horrible thing to think about, but it's if you're gonna have half of the population of the universe, that's gonna be bound to be there. Do viruses count? Because they don't really exist. You mentioned that joking around before with the flu, but viruses don't exist on their own. They can't. They have to have a host. So, bacteria.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, with all these anti-vaxxers, and we're getting back measles and all sorts of diseases that were wiped, and pox, and so is this gonna help wipe that back out again? I mean, heck, if they're, Thanos doesn't seem like he's 100% stone cold evil, which is what makes him so compelling. He seems to have there's a lot of evidence that shows there's more good than bad in his snap, but except it's bad to the people who are directly affected.
Now, continuing this really morbid, out there, crazy kind of question. I'll admit it. I'm a crazy person sometimes. So, okay, we see entire individuals get snapped. Is there like some half people that just like, half of their body just gets snapped, like underneath their legs, and, because half of the life, or is it half of the individual? Do like bacteria in someone get snapped out because they need that to live, and the rest of them survive? Or what I mean? Do we get some like dismemberment or something because half of the body is destroyed but half of it's fine? You know what I'm talking about? Kind of craziness.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but to paraphrase, but to go with kind of Stan Lee's answer to some of this stuff. Like, he used to always get asked, like, why do the Hulk's pants expand to fit him when he grows? And he said, because the comics code would not approve a naked Hulk running around. And since this is going to be, we know, a PG-13 movie, some of this stuff isn't going to... They may say, yeah, it happened, but they're not going to show it. So who knows what the Russos are going to say after the movie's out and they talk about it and joke about some of these scenarios. But we're not going to see it.
I mean,
because there's no way they get a PG-13. That's the reality.
Yeah. But
it is a fun... I know, but I agree. It could very well happen.
All right, what's your next question?
Okay, this is one... I want to see the one scenario out of the 14,605,000 that the Avengers can win with, and I want to see actor Michael Pena explain it out.
That might be a fun scene as an intro to the movie. So last time, he sims up the entire, oh, that would be fun if somehow Ant-Man comes back, and then, oh, what happened? And then he asks Michael Pena, and he tells him everything that happened, and then, oh, you should be on the news. You can explain everything in like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and I think we need more of an explanation why Doctor Strange gave Thanos the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more of an explanation other than it had to be, it's the end game.
What makes Tony that important?
Exactly.
Okay. So is there any consequences for undoing the snap? So let's just say they undo it, which is what we're expecting. Is there some kind of demons of hell that escape, or some kind of the universe isn't the same, because you fixed it, kind of thing, that we've seen this kind of example in The Flash, and I mentioned this before that with the Flash TV show, they mentioned this as like a chipped cup.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you can imagine it. Let's say they reverse the snap, and the people that were snapped come back, but all the people that were in incidents because that, like plane crashes and all of that, none of those people would come back because they weren't killed by the snap. Can you imagine the resentment and hatred for those people by their surviving families?
Yeah.
They'd probably want them dead.
Might be people that are like, good. I didn't want that person alive anyway,
Mm-hmm. Or somebody may be happy, says, yay, I got a great job because the number one candidate got snapped away and I got the job.
So, going back to, my cup thing with The Flash, where, for Flashpoint in season 2, the Flash, Barry Allen, talks to the Flash from another universe, and then he's like, hey, I tried to fix the universe, but it's different. How do I fix it to be not the different? And it keeps trying and keeps trying, and the Flash says the one, it's like a cup. You break the chip, but if you put it back together, that crack is still there. So that crack is going to still be there. Is there going to be a crack through the universe in this, and black holes open up and these monsters come out, or something like that, where it's not the same universe anymore.
Exactly. Instead of Inhumans, we have mutants.
That would be a perfect way to kind of introduce X-Men after this and say, hey, the genetic code gets screwed up, or, whatever. These demons from hell escape, where you don't have really demons from hell, in the MCU right now. But, we have the Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but, we don't actually really have demons flying out and doing stuff, where, maybe that could be an explanation for the, what's happening in Spider-Man Far From Home, something.
Mm-hmm. Or it could unleash Kang the Conqueror into this reality.
Or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Or maybe he shows up to fix everything.
Probably not.
Oh, not immediately, but I could see down the line several movies that Kang is like going, your timeline is all screwed up.
All right, do you have a next question?
Trying to think. I think we've just about covered everything I thought of.
Okay, I have one. What memories of the snap does Captain Marvel have?
That's a good question. Did she witness? Did she? Yeah. What did she see of the snap?
I mean, it could just be conveniently that she was in space or something when it happened, but that would suck.
I guess. The guys on Titan, the survivors, Tony and Nebula. Do they get home to Earth? I mean, we've seen in trailers that they're stranded in space. So do they go to Earth, or do the Avengers come meet them and go find Thanos?
Okay. So is there like PTSD of the surviving people, which we kind of seen some of this with Captain America talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's a legit thing. It's gonna shock people. It's gonna, be a big event. So is this something that maybe gave PTSD to Captain Marvel? Maybe she was
Yeah,
helping a planet overthrow a warlord or something that we didn't know about, and then she fails and she doesn't know what happened.
exactly.
It was a whole universe. It's not just one planet. So everyone in the universe, wherever she was at the time of the snap,
Mm-hmm.
it happened there too.
Yeah. And were any planets destroyed by the snap? I mean, were there planets that, seeing what happened, they freaked out and they literally just kind of attacked each other, thinking this was an enemy, their enemy, trying to kill them. Not having any idea what the snap is.
So one of the things we haven't mentioned is that there has been a leak. Do you want to explain this?
Yeah, I'll explain something. Yeah, there looks like there's been a presentation in Saudi Arabia, uh, because the footage has subtitled in Arabic. It's from the first 20 minutes of the movie. Somebody filmed it with their cell phone and posted it online. Uh, and pretty much the big evil corporate entity Disney has been able to smash that down pretty quickly. What they've had far less luck with is this footage has been turned into memes, GIFs, short clips, and it's popping up everywhere. I've seen them several times. Uh, if you don't want to be spoiled, I recommend really limiting your internet viewing until the movie comes out.
And we can't also say that there's probably going to be people that probably are faking it. That they think that they want the attention and that they know there's a leak, so they'll fake it and put stuff out there that is fake. That maybe it's a blurry picture, maybe it's like a small quality picture, or something, just because they want to do that. They want that attention. Maybe that YouTube clickbait, garbage. They'll post the links and you gotta see this, and then it's all fake, or it's all blurry, or it's all something. Because there's definitely a lot of people faking stuff, and they'll put it up there, and you don't know if it's a real spoiler or a fake spoiler. So,
Yeah, but the bottom line is, it's from the first 20 minutes. The trailers show most of this footage anyway. And probably if you've been to the grocery store or someplace that sells toys, you've seen products that have just as many spoilers sitting on the shelves. So, it's just the nature of the world we live in. You're not going to stay 100% pure. It's unless you are in a cave. Then you wouldn't know this movie's coming out anyway. So, I mean, just don't get into a tizzy about it too much. It won't. It's not like you're going to get snapped away. It's not like you're being told the entire plot to the movie and every twist and turn. It's just spoilers from the first 20 minutes. But people are mean, and some people really suck. So, don't just be a little more cautious than you normally are if spoilers really get to you.
and of course, we may have spoilers of scenes that are cut, or spoilers of scenes that are flash forwards or flashbacks, or something that doesn't make sense outside of the context. It could be a lot of different variables there. So,
If this was Saudi Arabian footage, it's probably edited far different than it is in most other markets.
and I think the Chinese release is coming soon, and they may just release the entire movie. So, just because, not to hate on Chinese people, just a lot of people there don't care about being a pirate and just putting that up, or they don't care about intellectual property and just stealing people's stuff, and just so it just part of they don't have that. If it was like a Chinese movie, I think they may care more. They don't want to rip off their own people, but it's a lot of pirating.
Oh, you would be surprised. I mean, I can remember a time when Chinese movies were getting ripped off more than Western movies in China. So there seems to be a lack. The internet seems to have a lack of respect for intellectual property, and I'm not going to sit here and be all high and mighty because I've participated. But it's just kind of, at this point, if somebody complains about it, I go, how old are you and how long have you been on the internet?
So just avoid Twitter, avoid Facebook if you can, avoid Reddit, avoid all these Instagram, avoid other, websites. We're going to give you a heads up on spoilers, and other websites will be like, headline, this happens in, you won't imagine what happened in Endgame, and they'll do that on purpose because they want the clicks. They don't give a crap about you. They want the clicks.
And if you click, and in that situation, you've got nobody to blame but yourself if you click. So don't, unless you enjoy being spoiled. I mean, there are people that do. There's some people, they want to know as much as possible before they go in, and I'm just not one of them. Adolph isn't one of them.
No. And, to give some behind the scenes here for how to do website stuff. So, let's just say I post a link on Facebook, and people hate it. There's 1,000 hates. Guess what? Your friends saw that you hated it. Saw the negative emoji. Let's say, people are commenting left and right. Your friends saw that you commented. Therefore, that still gets put out there. That still gets out there. People still see, oh my God, look at that comment that Adolph did on, X movie review, X, whatever. And that generates buzz. That keeps people going. Even if they don't actually click on there, by reacting in any kind of way, you're giving them attention, which is what they want. So don't even try. If you.
And some social media sites, you can go in and you can adjust this where people can't see this stuff, or it's limited to just you, but each platform varies. Some you can do it and some you can't. This is why I don't spend much time on social media, because it demands too much information from me, and it doesn't allow me to block what I want to block, and forces me to share more than I want to share. So I'm not willing to compromise on some of this stuff, so you don't see much of me out on the internets.
So here's another example. I saw a Cracked article. I like Cracked. I'll give them a shout out here. And they're talking about ways corporations make money that would shock you. And it was, not a bad article. It's just a bunch of different pictures that have text on there. They're like memes. And so people, the one they highlighted was Garfield, and how, Garfield is made to maximize profits. And in that, discussion thread, someone posted it. Nothing to do with Avengers. Nothing to do with Marvel. People talking about Garfield. People talking about, profiteering. People talking about how corporations are just making money, and they don't care. And it just so happened someone decided to post that there, put a picture there. It had nothing to do with anything, just because they could. So not even looking for spoilers, and you may get it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do see it, report them as spam.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let them answer for their actions.
You never know. That person may be doing it just to get people riled up. He just lives to be he's a troll that just wants to post this picture, and he may have made it. The picture that I did see, was like really, really low quality. So maybe he did make it. Maybe he got something and then he edited it. Maybe he got, combined the spoiler with something else he did. And, he made it such a low resolution you can't tell if it's real or fake, or if it's a combination of half real, half fake. There's a lot of different things there. So you don't know. There's going to be a lot of good fakes and a lot of people that half fake it. And,
Mm-hmm.
so just, if you're watching this and you haven't been spoiled, yay, or listening to this, but it's definitely a minefield. There's definitely a lot of publications that don't care, that they want the clicks and they're going to post that out there. And, so just...
Mm-hmm. Some are malicious and some are really, and some are just frankly ignorant. Because since comic book movies make lots of money, there's a lot of the business press is writing articles, and they spoil things. They're not malicious. It's they just don't understand fandom. I mean, they're under and people saying they suck and insulting them makes the situation worse. So if they spoil something for you, instead of calling them morons, just send them a nice email and point out that it would be nice if they didn't spoil stuff.
Or just don't follow them at all.
Yeah, exactly. Unless if you're not because their fan news is just simply they're crunching the numbers.
So, there was times where I was following the website and I was in the theater for an early screening, and in the headline, they spoiled a part of the movie, and I was pissed. I was like, come on, I'm in the theater a week before it comes out, here for a review, and they don't have the decency to do that, and I just stopped following them. I'm not going to name them, but...
Well, none of this is new. I mean, when DC had the whole Death of Superman storyline, the mainstream press ruined it. Same way with when Marvel had Captain America assassinated during Ed Brubaker's run. It was, and both of these situations really hurt sales.
So, I think that's enough of that little rant. I guess, do you have any other final questions that you hope that gets answered in Endgame?
No, because the other one I had, they already answered. There isn't going to be no admission. There's going to be no break in the movie. So, either limit your soda consumption and food consumption. Make sure you go before the movie, or you may want to wear astronaut diapers.
Or you may just want to, use the container that you drink the soda to evacuate your bowels or bladder in.
Oh, I would be very careful, because if you're sitting next to a kid, you may get Pee Wee Hermaned.
Yeah, or called out and you just, I didn't have to pee, I can't wait. No intermission, no break in between hour and 1.5 to the next hour. So, I guess that's the ultimate question. Will it be worth the hype? Will it, be justified at 3 hours? Is there enough story there, or did this fall apart? Which that would be a massive disappointment in every end,
Yeah, mm-hmm. And will Marvel fans riot? I figure not. If Star Wars fans didn't riot over Episode 1, and I'm looking at you, Star Wars fans, I can't believe the vitriol you have for Last Jedi. It wasn't nearly as bad as Episode 1, and you managed to not scorch earth the whole internet over it.
So yeah, if it lives up to the hype, if it lives up to 3 hours, if it's needed, if Captain Marvel just goes in there and puts on the glove and undoes the snap and everything's hunky dory and that's going to be really disappointing. So.
Oh, but then the next 2.5 hours is a goose cat videos, then maybe all is forgiven.
Obviously, not all of our questions will be answered in this movie. Hopefully, many of them will.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully, they really go in there and go into it, and some of these questions could be shown answered in like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You could see these scenes, and you could have establishing shots and have things happen that you don't need to explain. You could see. So hopefully we get a lot of these questions answered. And, honestly, I don't care if they don't get answered. I mean, I care because I do want to, I want to see what's going on, but I'm not one of those people that are mad about movies if, I had 10 theories and none of the theories are right. So I hate the movie because my theory. No. That's not the way you watch movies.
No, exactly.
That's how social media likes to watch movies now. But that's not the right way of doing it. Just enjoy it for what it is and not for what it ain't. And, don't be a jerk to other people. Don't spoil it. Don't walk out of the theater. If you see a line of people to the next screening of the movie, don't just screaming on top of your lungs all the spoilers. Don't be that way. Don't be.
Yeah, I knew somebody who did that for Return of the Jedi, and he's got the ugliest nose now because he got punched out so many times.
It'd be like Homer, The Simpsons, and walking out of Empire Strikes Back. He's like, I can't believe Luke. And people are like, what the hell, man? So don't be that way. And what questions do you have that you want answered? Comment below, and we're gonna try to post this before it comes out, so that way you get a chance to comment and see and talk about it. Hopefully, but we definitely want your questions. Definitely want your comments on here. And if you're gonna be a jackass and comment and have a picture of spoilers, it's gonna be really bad. I'll ban you.
Maybe the Scott Lang will finish you.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's pretty much it for us. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Before this podcast ends, I want to give a thank you to my patrons. Right now, we have one patron, which is David from Spain, and I want to thank you for your financial support. All right. So that's going to be it for this podcast.
We now have a Patreon, and the link is in the description. Thanks for watching.
And we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They don't put it everywhere. Just look for us, 3D or 2D. And of course, review us on iTunes. And if you want to write us a letter, our email address is email3dortwo2d@gmail.com. So that's going to be it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Excelsior!